Oh, hey. So Jonathan had an interview? Oh, cool. With who? Talkative Tree? Oh, it's pronounced Talkative Try. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. So how'd it go? Oh, he has 50 questions. Alright, that's a lot. Anything interesting? Oh, he asked Jonathan about the reduced attack speed nodes on the warrior side of the tree. Alright. That's something I feel very strongly about. What did Jonathan say? Oh. Oh. Hello, everyone. And welcome to a short video on Path of Exile 2. I wasn't planning to make a video until release, basically just stream me playing through the game. But I was compelled to make this video after hearing Jonathan's response in the Talkative Try interview. As you can see from my incredible acting at the start of this video, I feel very strongly about this topic, and I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. And then I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the community response, because I find it very strange. I mean, we're a year in, and I'm still seeing some very strange things, and it's, I know it's a portion of the, it's not everyone, it's just a portion of the player base, but it's still a very vocal portion of player base, and, I don't know, I guess I have a couple of things to say about that as well. But we'll get to that later. I actually want to get back to the topic that I wanted to discuss for sure. Now, I don't know if anyone from GGG will ever see this. Ideally, in my deluded dreams, I would like somebody just to take note of this, to maybe even Jonathan to see this. And, well, basically in the interview, when he was asked about the negative, the drawback nodes on the skill tree, particularly the ones on the warrior side of the tree. And for those of you who don't know, there are a couple of nodes that you kind of have to get, especially when you're leveling through the campaign. You kind of have to get those nodes, and they come with significant downside. And let me show you. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So this is the Path of Exile tree. This is the warrior side of the tree. And well, as you know, you start here and you slowly in the campaign, you go through your little nodes here and there, and then you get to this part. If you're a two-hander, such as myself, and I love me some two-handing, you really want to pick this up, because it's 40% increased damage with two-handed weapons. But it comes with 5% reduced attack speed. Things are already very slow, especially when you're playing mace. Maybe in the future with the other weapon types, this doesn't feel as bad, but for the mace, it feels really bad. But that's not it. You carry on, you go down here, and then you have to pick up these nodes, because in the campaign, you really need as much damage as possible to get through it, right? And again, you've got 50% increased attack damage, incredible. 30% increased stun buildup, also incredible, but 5% reduced attack speed. And this is the issue I want to talk about. Now, you will have noticed there's only two nodes there. It's not like the end of the world, and it's a minus 10 attack speed situation. There are other nodes that you can track to that are fairly close. There are a couple of nodes that you can get to without straying too far from the path to make up for that skill. And so why am I bothered by it? Well, it just feels bad. That's pretty much it. I don't think there's much to say about the issue. It just... When I'm speccing through my character in the campaign, before I get to that part of the tree, it always feels really disappointing to spec those points, even though the upside is huge. We already went through the nodes. They're great nodes. They just don't feel good. And when Jonathan was asked about it, he said he was happy with this, what do they call it, with the drawback and advantage side of things. I think Talkative Try called it a kiss and a curse, or kiss and a punch or something. I don't know. But basically we're talking about significant drawbacks when you're skilling on the tree. And I think while it's fun to see on certain keystones that change the way you play the character, such as Giant's Blood, which allows you to use two-handed weapons if you so desire. Basically, you can hold a two-handed weapon in one hand, but it comes with a significant downside in which you need all of your weapons need 3 times the attribute requirements. But it's a keystone. It changes the way you play the game, and it's fine. And even though that kind of feels mandatory when you're playing Warrior, it's still the reward is cool enough that you know, it's fun to take. And I'm pretty sure they'll go through some balance patches, and eventually there'll be other viable ways to play. I am by the way, despite the tone of this video and the little jokes at the start, I really like the way this beta test is coming forward, this early access or this beta test, whatever you want to call it. I'm really happy with its progress. And so far, I've really liked GGG's approach to a lot of these revisions and redesignings and reworks of the tree, the systems. They've changed core systems that I thought they'd never change, like the support gem system. I pretty much thought they would be hard locked into the one support gem per character idea for a while, and when they scrapped that last season, I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised, mind you. So I know that they listen to feedback, and I know that they care about what people have to say. So I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and say that this just feels bad. The more increased damage, more and increased means different things in Path of Exile. One of them is multiplicative and one of them is additive. These ones are additive. But it's still a lot. 40% increased damage is a lot. But when you're hitting slower, especially from an already slow weapon, a weapon where oftentimes when you're hitting, you stay in place and you can't move while attacking like you can with ranged weapons. It doesn't feel good. It can be as powerful. I feel like you could give it... Well, that's not true. I was going to say, I feel like you could give it like 100% increased damage and people would still feel badly about it. You'd still feel bad, but, you know, after a certain amount of damage, I guess it would balance things out and you wouldn't feel as bad. But then you get into the problem where the game's imbalanced, and this time bosses you can build your character in a way, you can scale your character in a way where the bosses die in one hit, and we know that that's not something that they want. And honestly, it's something that I don't think should be in the game either. Because when you break the game, it becomes too easy, and you kill all the bosses in 1 or 2 hits. The game kind of loses its appeal very fast. So I'm with them on that. But there still needs to be a solution to the to this whole thing. I mean, maybe decrease the increased attack damage and the stun build-up and remove the attack speed entirely. It's hard to explain. In an ARPG, you keep wanting to progress, right? You keep wanting to add to your progress. But for me to pick this up, right, I'm compelled to go, okay, this one isn't too bad because it's right on your path. You end up getting these nodes, and these nodes, for those of you who don't know, 3% increased skill speed, which includes attack speed. You got another 3 here, and you've got another 6 here. And so, you know, you've basically made up the deficit with just this. And then if you spec some way, and most people do, by the way, you generally spec, and you end up taking this one as well. This one's a little bit more out of the way, but it's not as bad because generally you take these nodes as well, right? For those of you who play Warrior. So this is what your tree would look like. I think pretty much everyone... Oh god, how do I unallocate? Press... I just want you to unallocate. There you go. This is what the tree looks like for most people. Well, except for this part. Never mind, I've met him. You get my point. You go through this, actually. And you have to go out of your way to feel like you're over your debt. When I'm playing a game, I don't want to feel like I'm in debt that I have to settle. I have to deal with that enough in real life. I don't want to have to spec all the way down here to get these nodes plus these ones just to feel like I'm fulfilling my ultimate fantasy. Which is why we play these games, right? You're just going for a power fantasy. So this is something that I've disagreed with GGG and Jonathan with a lot since the very first iteration of this game. You can look at my past videos on this channel. I mean, why would you? I mean, they've got like, I don't know, 200, 300 views, and most of those people are clicking off within the first 20 seconds, like most of you will be clicking off this video with my horrible acting. But still, if I can get through, it would be nice. I distinctly remember, I'm not sure if it was Jonathan or if it was Mark or even if it was Chris, and this was something that they discussed on a panel at one point. It might have been during ExileCon a couple of years ago. It might have been just before the release. I don't recall the exact interview that they said this, and I don't recall who said it, but one of them said it's the kiss and curse, you know, the drawback and the significant bonus design choice is pretty much a designer's. They said something about it being a designer's pitfall, a trap, where designers feel like this is a really cool idea. Like, I distinctly, it was someone from GGG, high up in GGG, who said this, and they said that every designer feels like this is a really cool tool that you can tap into, and in their minds, when they're thinking of people building their well, it is, the game is kind of inspired by Magic the Gathering, so I will include building decks in there as well. When people are building their decks or their characters, the designer feels like adding huge changes alongside with significant drawbacks is giving the player more agency. And that works when you're changing the way the game's played, such as the Giant's Blood example I gave you, or something with Chaos Inoculation. You know, you lose all your health, but now you play with your energy shield, which is cool. I'm not saying it's balanced. I mean, it changes the game significantly. Or stuff like you can't deal any more elemental damage except for fire, and all of your elemental damages are converted to fire significantly. You know, there are those drawbacks. It's interesting. It opens up an avenue for you to really go hard on one damage type, and it allows you to fulfill some sort of fantasy. So it can feel good on keystones and game-changing nodes, but when it's there to just provide a downside for some damage boost, it doesn't feel as good, because this time you're hitting slower. Yeah, you're hitting 40%. You're hitting 40% increased damage, but you're already doing only one attack per second because you're already using the heaviest weapons in the game. And now you're slowing me down by 10% of that, so we're going down to even less attacks per second. And no matter how much I can do damage, it's just gonna feel bad. Unless you're doing the like One Punch Man, or one like the ultimate fantasy where you just smash someone with the hammer just once and they end up dying. And we know they don't want to do that, which is, as I discussed, is because it really throws the game's balance off, and people basically lose interest in the game very quickly, and I'm kind of with them. I think it was in the very first patch, Supercharged Slam was extremely powerful. It was killing bosses in like a couple of seconds. I think it was Al Kaiser who was playing like that, and then everyone was shocked by it, and it got nerfed immediately. And then this time, everyone on the hammer side of the tree just felt like there was nothing for them to really go for. Now, for me, it's fine. I actually don't mind the auto attacks. I generally do auto attacks, and then I supplement it with whatever big attack I can get going after I provide it with enough support gems, such as people don't like Sunder. I like Sunder. I think it's fine. It even got a little bit of a buff this patch where it's going to hit a little harder, a little quicker rather, which is very welcome but it's still tiny amounts that don't feel good. So I guess what I'm trying to say here, that I've spent the last 30 minutes talking about, is it just feels bad. I know, by your own words, or somebody at GGG's own words, I know it feels cool. I know it feels like it gives you flexibility, but I think pretty much every single person playing the game, bar a few, would feel better if the upside was a little lower and we had no negative sides, especially to attack speed. Attack speed is such an important part of, especially a melee character. I mean, it's everything. You kind of, that's what you're playing the game for. That's why you're gearing up, why you're trying to get your attack speed. Attack speed is one of the most desired nodes on every single bit of equipment you can get on a warrior, on any melee character in any RPG, not just a RPG, just any RPG in general. So, again, the very slow attack but incredible damage build could work in something like a Dark Souls or an Elden Ring, I think, in that kind of an ARPG. But in a hack and slash ARPG, a Path of Exile style hack and slash game, it just doesn't feel the same because you want to keep progressing. And Warrior, like I said, you're already stopping every single time you're doing an attack. Thankfully, they fixed armor, so it doesn't feel as bad when you're taking hits as you're charging an up attack. But I think that this sort of thing, it doesn't provide the build depth that you guys think it does. Instead, it just pushes people away from some of the harder hitting, like perfect strikes. I just stopped doing perfect strikes altogether. I felt like you don't really need to. And everyone ends up using the same couple of skills. Now the game is in beta. We're still missing pretty much every single melee weapon in the game. I think quarterstaff and hammer is the only one in the game right now. Yeah, that's pretty much, yeah, that's true. So maybe all of this balances out better later on, but let me show you something. Again, I know that this tree, especially this part, is mostly placeholders until we get all of the classes, but you're giving us negative sides here. But let's say on the sword nodes right here, let me zoom in so it's easier for you guys to see. On the sword node here, we get 6% more attack speed with swords. So like, again, there's a situation where we're in debt here, and I mean, we're already gonna go on this side, but then do we really want to pick up these nodes? When I pick up these nodes, it shouldn't be me trying to repay a debt, an attack speed debt. It should be me adding to my character, making the choice between, oh, that's a little bit more increased damage, but, you know, I want to go even faster. I want to hit harder. Same with the axe node. Now, I know these are probably going to change. We don't even have axes, and you can tell that this is this is just a placeholder. But still, in Path of Exile 1, we had attack speed nodes on every significant weapon wheel, and I'm sure it'll be the case here as well. So again, why are you putting us in debt for us to repay? It just doesn't feel good. And especially when Jonathan said that he would prefer other parts of the tree to have more downsides. Please don't. The game, like I said, I really like the game. The game's really good, but it would be very poorly received. Especially, I mean, I can still forgive it up to a certain point because, again, I'm going to show you, it's only 2 nodes, right? Even if we're a mace warrior and you balance things out, at the end of the day, despite this feeling bad and this feeling like a chore, like I said, or a debt, it's still a class. You know, it's part of the class fantasy, I guess. I can forgive it. But if you're gonna bring it into the spellcasting side or the archer side, you know, the fantasy of the very quick attacking monk or the very quick attacking rangers or deadeyes or whatever, when you nerf their abilities, it's not gonna feel great. People are gonna hate it. People are gonna do their best to try, and like it doesn't create a problem for you to solve. It just creates a debt for you to solve. And you're going to say, what's the difference between a problem that you need to solve and a debt? Solving problems feels good. I've played Path of Exile 1 and I make my own builds, right? They're not good builds. They're terrible builds, but I really got into build making a couple of years ago. And the reason why I got into it was because solving those problems were fine. But the problems when they're just, oh, I need more attack speed, that's not the problems you want to solve. And it is hard for me to, because I'm not a game designer myself, it's hard for me to vocalize, but it's better when you're trying to solve problems. Let's say in Path of Exile 1, right? When you're trying to add more fortify nodes to make your character a little beefier, and you're adding an extra layer. Let's say you're adding an extra layer of defense on your character. And then you have to create space in your build by cutting back on other things. So that's a fun problem to solve, adding a defensive layer. Or let's say you want to enhance your damage. You're already doing decent damage, but you want to enhance it with impales or bleeds. But to do that, you need to, you know, dial it down somewhere else. You need to get your points back. Like, that's a fun thing to solve. You took Chaos Inoculation. You don't have health anymore. You need Energy Shield. That's fun to work through. You picked up Giant's Blood, and you need 3 times the attribute requirements. Well, now it's a problem I have to solve with gear and with some of the wheels on the tree, but strength nodes are good anyway, and you kind of want to go with them anyway. Oh, and Titan already has this really cool ascendancy that gives you 50% more for every one of the small nodes. Oh, that's a really cool way to solve that problem. Like, those feel good. This, I guess what I'm trying to say is when it comes to trying to deal with deficits in attack speed, probably damage, cast speed, even HP up to a certain point in a game where it's very difficult to get HP, even like dealing with HP deficits, it just feels like a chore and not a challenge. So I don't know if I've been able to express myself well enough, and like I said, I don't even know if anyone important is ever going to see this, but this is how I feel about the situation, and this is something that I hope they really fix for the... I don't expect it in this patch. It's not going to happen in this patch. Maybe when they eventually bring in the Marauder or the Duelist. I really hope they take another look at this, because just give us a break, man. I know Warrior, it's not as weak as it used to be, especially after the strength buffs, and especially after some of the love it got last patch. Like, I'm not saying it's not fun. It's still my favorite class, and, well, it would be my favorite class even if it was trash, to be honest. I just like the power fantasy of swinging a big hammer. I don't know what that says about me, but... so yeah, I just implore Jonathan and GGG to reconsider this decision about the downsides on the trees, at least not on so many notables. Again, keystones and some game-changing areas, they don't feel as bad, but this feels bad. Losing attack speed just to get an increase in damage, it's just like, oh, I know there's a difference. I'm sure if you run the numbers, there's a significant difference, but it doesn't feel that way. And as a player, at the end of the day, it's something you go by feelings, right? Especially with Path of Exile 2, when you don't have PoB and you don't necessarily want to PoB everything, when gameplay matters a lot more, positioning and so on. So please, in a game where, oh yeah, that's another thing, because positioning is important and getting to, like, I don't want the game to be zoomy. I'm okay with it. I love dodge rolling. I don't care. I know most of the community hates the speed of Path of Exile 2. I think it's fine. If it's a little faster, I wouldn't complain, but I'm okay with it. But because positioning matters, if I'm getting reduced attack speed and I'm also staying glued to my spot as I'm attacking alongside the reduced attack speed, it just feels bad. So it's just something to consider. I hope someone gets around to this. And the thing I want to say about the community is it just seems like people are looking for excuses to just hate. Like, I understand the endgame changes didn't come in this patch, and I understand that that's, you know, that was disappointing. I was disappointed as well when Jonathan said, oh, that the endgame changes, they're not coming this patch. I was like, oh. But then they quickly moved on to explaining the Temple of the Val and everything, and, like, call me a shill or call me, well, you can't call me a shill because I don't make any money, so I guess I'm just a glazer or a dick rider, as the kids like to say these days. So yeah, I'm one of those, but I don't know, I think what we got is pretty good. A whole new class. I don't even like druids. I've never played druids in any RPG, in any game throughout my life. It just doesn't appeal to me at all. And yet for the first time in my life, I'm probably going to play druid. Just because I think it's very interesting what they've done. Their take on it is quite interesting. Especially the watering the plants thing. Like, that, it's amazing. I mentioned this in my previous video, but the neurons in my brain were just firing off I was secreting so much dopamine and serotonin when I saw the vines being cast, and then on top of it you make it rain, and then there's lightning everywhere, but it's being rained on, and suddenly the plants are even more luscious and they damage more. It's incredible. I'm really into that stuff. And I'm not saying you should like everything or not provide feedback. This video has been me talking 20 minutes about a design choice that I really dislike, and I hope that they reconsider. I guess the difference is, since the release of this game, and again, you can look through the previous video, just skim through it, the points I talk about are on the screen on a notepad. You don't even have to watch the video. If you look at the points I've made, they've pretty much answered almost all of them, except for this one. This is a point I've been making since almost day one of the patch release. of 1.0, even though I wasn't making videos back then. But I've been complaining about this for a long time, and it still needs to be looked at. And I'm sure eventually they'll take a look at it and they'll decide what's good for the game. I guess what I'm saying is, you know, criticism's fine, criticize all you want, but when things get needlessly personal and heated for absolutely no reason, just makes no sense. Like, if there wasn't any sort of rework or any sort of action from GGG themselves to fix any of these problems. I mean, they changed, like I said, they changed the whole support gem system. They're planning to overhaul the entire endgame system. I don't know about you guys, but that's a huge deal. Even though they were talking about it being a placeholder for so long, it's still going to be huge when they change everything. And guess what? It may not hit right. It may not work. And they may have to redesign it again and again. And people, and wanting the same thing in Path of Exile 1, that is already a formula that works. That's something you can just fall back on. Why not try new things and see what sticks? I swear people don't understand what a beta test is and how valuable this time is. Also, you don't have to play through 2 or 3 months of this. Play the patch, have fun for a couple of weeks. When you're bored, just log out. That's what I did. Even in Path of Exile 1, Necropolis, I played it for like, oh, I don't know, 5-6 hours, and I was like, not for me. I'll be gone. And then Settlers came along, and it was amazing. And even though it was the longest league, I think I played Settlers non-stop for almost 3 months. It was great. Affliction, I think I played it for a month straight. Crucible, again, not that, even though it was my first real expansion, I've been dabbling with Path of Exile here and there since 2017, but like Crucible was when I was really like, okay, you know what, I'm going to commit all of my time and my brain power to understanding this game. And that was the patch where I really got into the game, but you know, I didn't understand it that much, and after a while, when I was burnt out, I just stopped playing, and I came back refreshed and ready to play more. Tota, amazing stuff. Probably played it for like 3 weeks straight. I had a great time. But, you know, eventually you run out of gas and you just play something else. Abusing and being overly negative, abusing the devs, just insulting and like spamming, it feels childish. It's embarrassing, alright? And I know a lot of you feel strongly about this, and I know most of you won't even watch this, but on the off chance that you do, just take a breath. You know, I'm not going to go for the touch grass thing, because that's a stupid thing to say. It doesn't mean anything. But like, if you're not enjoying it, just don't play it. It really is that simple. Just don't play it. And come back in the next patch. 0.5 is going to be huge. And they're going to get a lot of things wrong. I guarantee you they're going to get a lot of things wrong, but it's still going to be refreshing to see what they come up with. Druid, by the way, it's either going to be incredibly busted or incredibly bad, and they're going to balance it within the prediction. This is hardly me being Nostradamus, but it's going to come out. Things are going to be overtuned. Maybe the Val Temple. I can guarantee you the Val Temple is going to be incredibly overtuned, and they're going to fix that. So be prepared. Like, if you don't like it within the first few days, just give them a week and they will balance it down to an acceptable level. Druid, some skills are going to be shit. I'm telling you, some skills are going to be like absolutely pointless to play. From what I've seen, it's a huge class. It's like 4 different classes in one. And some of things are going to feel incredibly powerful, so much so that you're going to be compelled to go in just that direction. Kind of like when Amazon released and Lightning Spear was very powerful. It's just part of the process. Just go with it. It's fine. Tell them what works and what doesn't work. You know, scream into the void a little, but try abusing both the developers and the people who are having fun, who are actually enjoying the game. Try abusing them less. You know, there's this idea that if I make enough noise and if I scream and I throw my toys out of the pram enough, then they'll be forced to change it. They'll be forced to give me what I want. I mean, it's kind of like the equivalent of hate watching a show you don't like, or a program that you like, or a streamer that you don't like, just to be like, oh, fuck, that piece of shit. Oh, look at what he's saying. Look at what he's... What are you doing, man? You're both poisoning yourself and everyone else who's trying to have a good time with all this. But that's just me. Maybe I'm too naive when it comes to these things, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. again, like I said, I'm going to be starting out with Titan, and eventually I'll be trying out Druid. Hardcore SSF all the way. Ever since I tried it a couple of years ago, I've been addicted. About a little more than a year ago, I've been addicted, and I'll be playing through as well. Those of you who want to stop by, I will be streaming, both on YouTube and on Twitch. But, yeah, try and have a good time. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever you celebrate, it's all good. Happy Hanukkah, all of those. Just have a good time. And please remember that it's a good thing that the patch scope isn't as big, because 10 days after this releases, everybody at GGG is going on holiday. They're all going on holiday. And you don't want to be stuck with incredibly broken systems for 3 weeks, because we saw what happens when that happens last year and basically every other December release where the patch wasn't as the community expected. People just go absolutely ballistic insane, and the toxicity just overflows. So you know what? I'm kind of glad that the scope is a lot less. I mean, I was predicting this patch to be delayed until after Christmas, to be honest. I was expecting a mid-January release. That's how I had no faith in the timing of this patch, but by reducing the scope, they've actually been able to push something out that I think is still significant. So yeah, have a great time. See you guys on Friday and onwards, and be kind to yourselves and others. Just be kind, all right? And Jonathan, please look at these reduced speaker modes. I mean, you're falling onto your own trap. It's the trap you mentioned. I'm pretty sure it was you who mentioned the and you said it was a designer's dilemma, a designer's toy that people don't like. Like, it was you who said it. I'm pretty sure it was you who said it. So please just remember that, all right? All right. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Goodbye.